Welcome to the Mike and JD Show YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. I want you to do me a big favor before you check out this clip. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to throw in a comment and make sure you're a subscriber to this channel. And then I want you to share this video with your friends. Help us defeat the algorithm. And then if you like this content and you appreciate this content, please head over to patreon.com/The Mike and JD Show and support the show. That is how we actually get funded to be able to do this. So we thank you very much for being here. And now enjoy the clip.
Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you rock your A game. A man, no rain on the track when we unite and spit. This isn't A game, better bring your A game. Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you rock your A game. A man, no rain on the track when we.
You know, Mercedes Moné is very much a star. I have a lot of respect for Mercedes Moné. I did not get a chance to talk about her debut last week on this show because I was out last week because I had a family situation to deal with. But I wanted to go ahead and give my thoughts and my opinions. Now, I thought that her debut last week was pretty good. Not great. Not great. I thought it was pretty good. I think her overall presentation is amazing. And she comes across like she's the biggest star on the show, biggest female star on the show. I will say that. But like I would say top 5. She comes across like a top 5 star on that program. I like the look. I like the song. The song is very much like their way of prompting you to chant CEO, which I think is smart. But people are like, oh, she's so over. She's getting all these CEO chants. Well, it's like the song is prompting that. It's very much like Dominic Mysterio getting piped in boos. And then now it's like, now they have conditioned the audience to boo him. And so now everywhere he goes, people think he's the most over guy on the show because like they have been prompting you to boo. And that is smart. I'm not even saying that's a bad thing. So I kind of like what they did there. I had a similar idea for a TNA character that never really panned out. So I happen to think that's a good idea. So I think the song is great. I think the look is great. Her promos are dreadful. And that's not a new thing, by the way. I think a lot of AEW fans who probably were not paying a lot of attention to what she was doing in WWE because they're just, they just don't like WWE, which is fine. There's a lot of people out there like that. They're now starting to realize why on Mandalorian she doesn't say anything. Because every time she talks, she comes across as inauthentic. And I think that's just her WWE training, I think that's very possible. Or maybe that's just her. Maybe that's just she's just not comfortable in a speaking role. She's had good promos before, so I know she's capable, but I just have not seen it. Like I just didn't think the last week was a good promo, and I thought this week was even worse, to be honest with you. And then I thought that her backstage skit with Willow and Chris Statlander also was not very good. And so we're going to need to see a little bit more out of her. And in fact, I thought that like the stuff with Statlander was like, okay. And then they pan like Statlander leaves and then she goes up to Willow and her and Willow it was just awkward. Like no part of that interaction on television made me want to see that match. I want to see the match because I know that it'll probably be pretty decent. Like Willow's great. And I know Mercedes can have a good match. So I want to see it. But nothing about the interaction made me all that interested in what they got going on next. So I'm going to pull up Brandon Thurston really quick because I do want to talk about. So, she is very much a star, but I think the big question is can she draw? And at this point, she is not a proven draw. Now people are going to cite, the number that they got in Boston, which is very good. But is that sustainable? She's not conditioned, but she has advertised herself as being from Boston for a long time. And she's been promoted as such. She's promoted as such in WWE, although they shit the bed by making her lose in her hometown. I think it's like Hell in a Cell. You guys can correct me on that in the chat. And I think it was Hell in a Cell. But she is very much like she's been and people believe that she is a Boston creation. Now she's from Fairfield, California. But I don't think people are ready for that conversation. Like I get it. She moved around a lot. And I think one of the cities that she stuck with, which is where she started training out of, was like nearby Boston. So I think for marketing wise, you would probably, like if you have a connection to both Boston and Fairfield, you're probably gonna tell people Boston. I get that. That makes total sense. But let's just not completely disrespect Fairfield. Like, maybe it's because I lived there for 5 years. Like I like that town. I like that city. But yeah. So is she a draw at this point? She is not a proven draw, despite the fact that she did have a good number in Boston. Right now, she went over to New Japan, and we saw what she was able to do in New Japan, and it wasn't much. Like she did very well in San Jose, and then New Japan came right back without her, and they did just as well. Right. So they very well could have drawn those numbers that they drew in San Jose with or without her, and we've seen that. Now, is she a draw in Japan? I don't know. Like Stardom was doing pretty good before she got there. I know that it's a little bit in turmoil now. That had nothing to do with her though. She made her debut in the Tokyo Dome, but like that didn't like nobody went there for her. Like there's a lot of like New Japan fans are not like big WWE fans, so there's no like real connection there. So, but I do want to bring up Brandon Thurston's tweet here. Let's go share screen on this deal. So ratings. Now I don't really like to do a lot of ratings talk, but I feel like a lot of people were talking about this today, so it's topical. So AEW Dynamite averaged 800,000 viewers and a 0.27 in the 18 to 49 demographic, which is about what they've been doing for the last 2 years, and which is kind of right around what they did last week. And so in a preemptive slot immediately following Dynamite, for the first time ever, Rampage had its highest total viewership since January 6, 2023, more than a year ago at its highest. So yeah, Rampage was right after Dynamite. And I think that's interesting too, by the way, that Rampage was right after Dynamite. Could that be what we see in the future? But yeah, so I don't think that she's ever been a proven draw. She's not yet. She can be. I think she can become one. I think she needs to hone her promo abilities and her backstage acting, which I would hope now that she's, doing. I would hope now that she's doing more Disney stuff like Mandalorian that she would just get better. But I have not been too impressed with her interactions with people. But I do feel like she still is coming across like a very big star, and I think that is important. So that's kind of what she has going for her. Now in the ring, that ankle injury was pretty brutal. I think she'll be fully healed from that. But in the ring, like she's probably just as good as Becky Lynch, but I wouldn't say she's better. I don't think that she's gonna tear it down bigger than they got so many amazing like male wrestlers. It's gonna really be hard to beat what they can do, and so she's just not there. So she's got to get over a different way, which is she's getting over by being who she is, which is just kind of like the CEO, like a megastar. That's what she is. She's just like she's a gimmick, and that's fine. It's pro wrestling. We have gimmicks in pro wrestling. She's very much a gimmick, and that's cool. So as of right now, she is not a draw, but she still very much is a star.